Good morning, y'all. What is happening? Morning where I am. Hopefully, it's a great Saturday wherever you are, or a good start to the weekend. I know it is a beautiful sunny day here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. On the line with us, we've got Beast Slef and Plato. We're going to bring them in rather quickly here without hesitation. How's it going, guys?
Hey, what's good, Lambo? How you doing, man?
Hey
Oshkosh,
guys, hey guys.
Wisconsin. That's Wisconsin. That never gets old.
So, Beast, you are in the middle of a 12-hour stream yourself, which we will get everyone over to as soon as we're done with the pod here.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Just to let everyone know real quickly, to enter, there is a free giveaway today. ElectroKing, who designs a lot of the graphics for my stream and several other content creators out there, he has offered to give away a free avatar logo to the winner today, whoever's in chat watching when we do the drawing. So as you folks type ElectroKing rocks in the chat, I am adding you to this spinning wheel here. And at the end of the podcast, we will spin to see who the lucky winner is. And one of you will be able to contact ElectroKing then and get a free avatar logo, whatever you want to call it, developed by the graphics god himself. All right. So
super nice of him to do, by the way. Shout out
Yeah.
to Electric. He's a really cool guy.
yeah, he's a good dude. Good morning, Mr. Weedy. So without further hesitation, Plato is in there now. Beast is in there now. Oops, it's only one T. Don't want to misspell your name. For those of you that don't know Plato and Beast already, and unfortunately Lattice was unable to join us. He just got back into Sydney from traveling abroad and is jet lagged. And since he's kind of been away from the game for a couple of weeks, he didn't feel it was appropriate to join the podcast and talk about things that are happening in Rise of Kingdoms today. So he will be back with us in 2 weeks. But there is a link to Plato's channel and to Beast's channel. Give them a subscription if you are living under a rock and not already subscribed to those two fine gentlemen. So I have some topics of discussion in the video description. We're going to start off with the Mega KVK, the 1365, 1960, 1093 KVK. Let's just start first with overall thoughts. We'll get into who we each think deserves the ziggurat at the end and who we feel our biggest disappointments were at the end. So overall thoughts, let's start with Plato.
Yeah, it was a really fun KVK. Super hype. Especially since like I was just spectating it. I'm in off season, so I don't really have much to do personally on my account, except for, I don't know, whatever people do during off season. Right now I'm 1+1ing for it, so it's not really the most exciting content in the world. So having a KVK that was that hyped was really fun to experience from a third person point of view. So yeah, we were streaming that a lot, and I guess like my overall impressions was like the big three KDs and being 1093, 1365, and 1960. It really, if there's anything to learn from this KVK, is that there's levels to Imperiums in terms of like, just because you're Imperium doesn't mean that you're all in the same echelon or you're all in the same tier, but rather there's like, there's like those big Imperiums, like the biggest of the biggest Imperiums are in a class of their own. And then I feel like that was the biggest difference between this KVK, because there's two of those in one side versus the other side, which only had one. And then, yeah, that's pretty much a gist of my overall thoughts. But yeah, it was super fun. I don't think you could fault any of the three big KDs, and they were just going back and forth for a while. So, yeah, definitely a good show.
Good stuff. Beast?
Yeah, it was a good KVK, an interesting KVK, I would say so. It was really nice to watch. But yeah, like Ploto said, overall the team was kinda not fair balance, I would say so. Because like you have 1960 and 1093 on one side, and on the other side is 1365. But still, it was a very, very good KVK. And I have loved to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, great job to 1365, 1960, 1093, the fights you guys gave us to stream, to watch, to enjoy were absolutely fantastic. This has been a very entertaining KVK, and my thanks to, literally to every kingdom out there that was on the field, that was fighting, that was giving us entertainment over the past several weeks, at least those of us who are not in a KVK doing fighting of our own. We were kind of living vicariously through the screen, watching everybody fight, watching the insane murder balls from 60, 93, and 1365. Y'all put on a great show. I truly appreciate it. Hopefully we see more of these types of KVKs. Hopefully Lilith listens to some of the folks out there and does some hand holding in some future matchups and can get us some big KVKs like this. I think once they look at their profit margin over the last month, they might say, hey, we need to do this more often. My thoughts on the KVK, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. I think one thing though for Lilith to keep in mind is, because I had an alt account in that KVK, and like I wasn't even trying to fight too much. I was just, because it's like a really, really no tech at all, no commanders, no gear type of fill troops alt account. So one time I was trying to fill troops, there was so much lag and input delay. It was insane. So I feel like in the future, if they do KVKs like that, there has to be some form of fix. But instead of that, that's pretty much the biggest downfall of the KVK. Instead, it was really fun with everything else. So
yeah, I mean, there were points where I couldn't even get in to watch because there were too many spectators. It was crazy.
Exactly.
So yeah, if they're gonna do a huge KVK like this again, they need to figure something out anyway to help it be more playable for the players and more viewable for the rest of us out there that are enjoying the fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So, Beast, overall, who do you think deserves the ziggurat at the end?
Well, that's a good question. From a fighting, I think 1960 deserve it. Why? First of all, they was having a tough Zone 6 fight against 1365. They have defend were pretty good and forced 1365 to use a lot in that zone already. While on the other side, 1093 was kind of having a free Zone 6 fight and didn't use that much to get these zones under control, right? And that deserve and that they have hold were pretty good. Was one, first of all, why they deserve it. And the second, why they deserve it is of the fighting in Kingsland. They did a pretty good job there. They have hold of 1534 pretty good, and they have also blocked the pass kind of fast for a Kingsland fight, I must say so. And overall, their rotation also to the Zig to help their allies was also pretty clean. While I think 1093 was kind of having problems, or not problems, but they was pushing slowly. Like they was not pushing that good like 1960 did. And yeah, that's why I think 1960 deserve the Zig.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Plato?
I mean, if I'm being for real, I think the hashtag Thundercap for Zig should be the play. Thundercap just did so well this game. No, I'm joking. It's really tough, right? The reason why I bring up Thundercamp for Zig is because one, my alt's in Thundercamp too. It's gonna be such a hard Diplo talk between the two, or if they already had the discussion, or I'm not exactly sure what the situation is, but it's going to be really tough because both sides can make really legitimate cases for why they want Zig. 1960, of course, if you go through stats, I don't know the stats off the top, but I would guess they would have more kills and such, just due to the fact that actually, I think someone in my chat told me that they're gonna go based off of stats. I don't know if they're in leadership or not, so I'm everything that chat says is hearsay until proven, but apparently they might go off of pure deads and kills gained this KVK. So I actually don't know the stats off the top, but just from what I saw, probably 1960 in that case. But it's a really, really tough margin because like neither KD could have won without the other. Because in Kingsland, like 1093 did so much in KL, like holding off against 3 out of the 4 camps. They were touching at one point Mimi, Thundercamp, and of course 1365, and like without them holding off that push. And that's the thing about, I remember you were, Lambo, you were talking about how there's no downtime for 1093. It's just like a less active time. And yeah, like during their quote unquote downtime or their less active time, like they didn't lose nearly as much territory as most KDs would in that situation, and they were just like really, really steady, I guess steadfast throughout the whole Kingsland, and like they were just really, really good in terms of holding their flags, filling flags, and then when they needed to push, pushing with their open field so that they don't waste as much time and troops and speed ups and stuff just to burn an objective. Like they're very objective focused in that way. And then 1093 was just free burning, but at the same time it's just like, would 1365 have more presence if 1960 didn't burn them out within the last 2 weeks? It's a tough ask, but I guess we'll have to just see the stats and it's really up to the Diplo. But if I had to pick, it'd be probably 960 just due to the fact that they fought longer. But there's also I also recognize the case for 1093 as well. So.
So Plato is being very politically correct. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, and this is a perfect example of a KVK where when only one camp gets the final ziggurat rewards, it sucks, right? Because
yeah, 100%.
both 1960 and 1093 deserve to quote unquote win this KVK, and a win is judged for the most part by who controls the zig at the end. That
Especially
said,
the new Artec rewards, that throws a wrench into everything, because it's like before you could kind of split like, okay, we'll take the zig, you guys take 5 RCFs and you'll call it a draw. Technically the 5 RCFs get some rewards, but then you just get like a cosmetic. But yeah, it's so tough because now Artec rewards is like, okay, we for sure won, because these are game changing type of buffs to your armaments. So yeah,
and there's a case to be made for saying, okay, 1960 should take the zig. They only have 300 players or so that'll get the rewards. 93 has 1,300 players or so. And they might not even want to try to justify the 300 players that they're giving those rewards to. God only knows. But yeah. I'm going to be different. I'm going to say I feel 1093 deserves a zig at the end, and here's why. They went into zone 4. They cleared out 534 from zone 4. Okay, not necessarily a difficult task. They had 2 allies there 5, already. Yeah. This one over here, wherever it is. 42 and 86, they did a great job setting up a defensive perimeter along that river. I think we discussed that in a prior podcast. And then 93 came in and pushed 1534 out. No problem. So they did some work there. And then for nearly a week straight, they held off 2 camps and I'm trying to find the damn thing again.
Yeah, the past 6.
At the past 6, right? They held off 1534 and they held off 1175. Sure, they couldn't push through the past 6, but they were continuously clearing the field, lighting a fort, lighting a flag on fire, And those two camps then were this one here, were just back building forts, back building flags. And it was literally impossible for them to do anything when there was a lot of back building going on. At the same time, they were holding off two camps at that pass. They came over into this zone, and they started working with 960 against 365. So they were literally fighting three camps at the same time. They were fighting over here against 365, helping 960, and they were fighting up by the pass against 1175 and 534. So that takes phenomenal coordination and a great amount of effort. Now, in Kingsland, like you mentioned, 960 is the more aggressive kingdom, but I think 1093 did a fantastic job in Kingsland too, doing what they needed to do to clear Mimi 1175 out of here, and then push forward and get 365 taken care of as well.
Sure. I'd even argue 1093 was the MVP on that side of Kingsland, just due to the fact that of all their touch points, as you said, that they were holding. And the reason why 1960 was able to free burn was because all of 1365's, for the most part's focus was on 1093 during the most part of KL. And then so they're just able to 1v1 1534, and we know how that went. So
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, 960 is, I'm like 51% leaning towards 1093, 49% leaning towards 960. It's as close as you could possibly get to who should get the zig at the end. But I think overall 93 deserves it for the work that they put in and the multiple fronts that they were holding multiple times during this KVK, and then the work that they put in Kingsland too, obviously.
Yeah. I think it also depends on internally between the two, like who planned more X and Y, who did this and that, because we will never know from an outside perspective. Yeah. But then I'm sure between the two, that's going to be also another point of discussion, because we call like 1093 like they're really good at planning war stuff. It's like if they were coordinating and told most of the KDs what to do, like, hey, 960, you should change where your 60 GT is going to come out of the pass so you could just free burn 1534. I feel like that changes the dynamic of the situation. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we saw two very different kingdoms that I consider top tier kingdoms, top 5 kingdoms for sure, in 1093 and 960. 960,
by the makeup of their player base you're talking about, right? It's like
that and how they play the game. 960 goes full on aggressive, right? They had players, I guess, that were pissed off that they went defensive in that first zone against 365. So they came into Kingsland and they went full on aggressive, swarm everything. 93 plays a different game. I hate to say it's a smarter game. I love the way 960 plays. My small kingdom plays a lot like that in our lower seed KVKs. But 93, they go in with hundreds and hundreds of troops. They clear the field, they rally the flag. And then they keep that rally full, and they keep that rally full. Once the flag burns, they all go back, they refresh, and they do it again at the next flag. So we saw two completely contrasting play styles that complemented each other very well. That's kind of why I've enjoyed this KVK so much. Beast, I know in one of your streams you had some comments, questions, concerns about how 365 planned out. I assume 365 did the planning. The territory where they were in between two weaker kingdoms. Do you want to touch on that real quickly?
Well, that would exactly already say my biggest disappointment. I don't understand the territory plan for Kingsland from the side from 1365. They have built around the Zig to guess the reason was to get territory. Okay, makes sense, but for what do you need territory if you have no allies? So that you can get attacked from 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. That makes no sense at all. And we have saw from the other side, 1093 and 1960, they have built on the side. They are the stronger kingdoms from their team. So that means they can push faster and easier to the level 7 passes from the enemy, and that's what they exactly did, right? Once 1960 have cut off 1534 out of Kingsland because they have blocked the level 7 pass and destroyed at the north the territory, it was already kind of over. And also 1175 was have basically no territory because they couldn't hold against 1093. Also, when they did at the beginning, but at some point, that's what I have heard, they stopped fighting and moved out of Kingsland. I don't know if that's true, but I have heard that. But 1365 was having a bunch of territory, sure, but they was also not really holding it because they got perma push from all sides. They got pushed from 1093. They got pushed from 86. They got pushed from 62. They got pushed at some point from 1960. So they got pushed from everything, while their weaker allies was having no territory at some point, and they was not able to really fight. Now imagine 1365 would have built on the side like 1093 did, like 1960 did, and they would have let the weaker allies on their side build to the zig, build around the zig, and fight against the weaker allies. Like in 1175 and 2381 and 1534, they can never hold against 1093 and 1960 in that KVK. Never, ever. So I don't understand why they didn't choose the direct way to hold against them and let the weaker allies build around the zig and let them push from the mid to the side. While 1365 defend the level 7 passes and push from the side to the mid or from the side to the other level 7 passes. I think if they would have did that, that would have completely changed the game and the situation in Kingsland, and maybe could have also been the win for 1365 side.
Oh, good, very good points. Plato, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Kingsland and like why things went this way or that way. I think we'll never really know, but I think there's also one point that we have to bring up is that 1093 and 1960 side, they didn't even build territory near the passes until a couple hours before Kingsland started. So it's really, really hard to predict and I guess place who you would want to match up with where. So I guess I would rationalize 1365 and their decision making because one, they didn't know which side was going to go where. They didn't know where to put their alliances and all that kind of stuff, so they just defaulted into that they called it, what do you call it, the cannon fodder setup, where the big kingdom's in the middle and then you let your smaller kingdoms on the side tank most of the damage until you help and you arrive. So practically, I guess you could rationalize it with, because they didn't know which side was going to go where. I mean, I guess we could talk about my thoughts before going into KL, was that I thought 1365 could hold off or even push against one of 1960 or 1093. But the biggest worry or flaw was that they're going to lose more territory against whoever they're not versing. So, if, for example, if they went up against 1093, they could hold or push on that whatever side they're on. But then the other side with all the rest of their allies would probably like start faltering. So I think for them, like their play was like, since we don't know enough information, we're just gonna go in the middle and take as much territory as possible. And then from there, we could teleport our cities wherever so that we could help out whichever side needs to help the most. But at the same time, I feel like that positioning didn't give them any win conditions. So it's just like, okay, we're here. It made them lose slower, if that makes sense. But then there wasn't any time in Kingsland where I'm like, oh, 1960 could keep pushing towards this area. I mean, 1365 could keep pushing towards this area to win. Or, you know, that we could do that to win. It is more so just like, all right, they're trying to plug in the holes. So, yeah, I mean, they tried to do the best is what they were given. But they weren't given much, and that's credit to 1090. 1093 and 1960 for that planning and like I guess giving as little information as possible. So they just defaulted and it didn't work. So
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Those fort drops shortly before Kingsland opened left little time for 365 and their allies to react. Baz said in chat he wondered if 365 went in the middle because they knew they would have to seriously help their allies, and that gave them more territory and flexibility to do so.
That's also more so like even if they went to one of the side lanes, like their allies were gonna have to like at least hold or push or whatever in the other side, and I guess they were just like they wanted more control, I guess, right? In terms of like, okay, we could either pick one side or the other to help instead of like only relying on one side and then just leaving our allies to the rest of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Bulba, welcome. Bulba says 365 was doomed once the allies were chosen. I think most of us here in this podcast anyway thought 1960 and 1093 would win.
For sure, yeah.
I agree. Those two,
right?
yeah, those two kingdoms together, it just it was going to be an uphill battle for 365 the entire time. The one disappointment I have this KVK, and watching a lot of the streamers who are casting it, they build it as 1960 versus 365. Very rarely until Kingsland really did anyone really focus on the 1093 side and what 1093 was doing. 1093 is a top 5 kingdom in this game, hands down, period. They've proven it time and time again. They've been up there amongst the top kingdoms since the start. They kicked my ass in KVK2. And I was in 1039, which was at that time one of the biggest and strongest kingdoms in the game. So 1093, my hat's off to you. You've been doing this since the game started. Just keep rolling, keep giving us good stuff to watch. So, okay, as far as this KVK goes then, biggest disappointments, if you guys don't mind, I'll kick this one off. My biggest disappointment this game was 1175. With Mimi having 2 1 billion power accounts, I was disappointed in seeing some rally reports where she was only putting 10,000 or 50,000 troops in a rally. You're not going to catch top players in this game, the Mad Phantoms, the MFs, the Bunnies, Ahmed-Aziz, Seawill, there's a handful, right? You're not going to catch top players in this game only putting 10 to 50,000 troops in a rally. And I can only assume she did that because she didn't want the dead troops and she wanted everybody else in her alliance to get dead troops. I mean, why would someone do that? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. In the second part of that, I think, yeah, she's a fighter. Got a ton of kills, got a ton of deads. Absolutely no disputing that. At the same time, though, in a high profile KVK like this, I would have expected her to be losing anywhere from 300 to 500 million power. You get half the troops back at the end. So, I mean, that was my biggest disappointment there. I thought those guys would do a lot better than they did and give 365 a lot more support than they did, especially in Kingsland. So, we'll flip over to you, Plato.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's hard for those two KDs to disappoint me. 1175 and 1534 I don't really see them as disappointing because I had no expectations for them going in. I didn't know what those KDs were. This was kind of like, I guess for most people that are not really diehard Rise of Kingdoms players, to like see different KDs and what they can do. So I didn't really know what to make of them, and then now I guess I know what to make of them. It wasn't really too much of this. I guess the biggest thing that was, it's hard for me to find a specific disappointment in this KVK, but I guess we could talk about, I don't know, like I have to think about it actually. Well, I guess the amount of like hate between the two sides was kind of disappointing to me. Because like I feel like the fighting and all the stuff that happened on the field was super interesting and super enjoyable. I don't think we could really find too many faults unless you're talking about specific KDs. And then in that case, as I said, I didn't really have any expectations, so then I couldn't have any disappointments. But I think one of the biggest disappointments for me was like both sides fought so well in terms of the 1365, 1093, 1960. Like all of those KDs fought super well. And I feel like my disappointment was I wish we could just watch that and enjoy it for what it is. It's kind of like, you know, in like normal sports where people just trash talk and like all that kind of stuff without watching the actual sport or like enjoying it for what it is. I feel like it for me like the most enjoyable part was like just watching the field fighting and the planning and the war without all of the noise and chatter, and that was like super enjoyable. And then if I had to pick a second thing, I guess it'd be also how unheralded 1365's efforts were. So you talk about 1093 and how no one talked about them, which is completely fair as well because they didn't like. I guess 1365 and 1960 took the spotlight for a bit during that past five opening zone 6 fight, and then it just kept on from there. And there's also a lot of 1960 like fanboys with OL in their name being known and stuff, but I guess like you don't really hear about 1365 and how well they did. Like fighting 1093 and 1960 in a side is no joke, and I feel like the only reason why this KVK was fun in the first place was because of them, right? So, yeah, those are the two disappointments.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone here is discounting the job that 1365 did and the insane uphill battle that they took on from the beginning. Beast?
I mean, 1365 did for sure a very good job, and I don't want to trash talk them or saying they did well. With my point, what I said at the beginning. But you know, I don't know. It's just for me sad that we didn't see the other option that they have built on the side. And yeah, I don't know. It was my last word to that. It was overall really great war, really great KVK. To the trash talk, I have watched Shisku's video at the beginning. I was like, okay, a lot of trash talk. I don't want to have something to do with that. And yeah, it was really enjoyable, and I'm looking forward for the next big KVK like this, and maybe with a better matchmaking that we have maybe like two big kingdoms on each side and not only one versus two. Yeah, nothing to say more.
Yeah, and Blue Savvy in chat, you're 100% correct. You know, there are not many kingdoms that could take on 1960, take on 1093, or take on 365 and expect to do well. I mean, look, 1960 took on 307 and beat them, you know, so I mean, absolutely, but hindsight is 2020. You know, we can look at a KVK, we can analyze it, we can give our opinions on who did well, who didn't do well, who we think deserves this, who we think deserves that. But it comes down to those kingdoms. You know, those kingdoms, those kings, those leaders know who is there. They know who is fighting. They know the stats. You know, they know the contribution that each of those camps gave. So, you know, ultimately the decision is on them as to who gets the zig, and you know, they all have to live with it. We don't. You know, we're just here talking about it for content, right?
You know. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Next topic, developer feedback. I've got the email that just came out 5 hours ago up on the screen. Plato, you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I guess with my Armament video, I was just talking about like if you didn't read it, the TL or watch it, the TLDW is yeah, it's the armament system feels super random. And I feel like Chiss really hit it hit the nail in the coffin here, where it's like they didn't really fix too much, but at least they're trying to do something about it, where they're fixing more randomization with more chances of randomization, which is, not the best, but it's better than nothing. So if you guys don't know, the whole patch notes and the whole change is that they're allowing people to change the 3 stats that Armament have, a reroll, if you will. So you could reroll the stats again if you, for example, best case scenario to use this, if you have like a legendary armament that you got a legendary inscription in, or I don't know, a KVK inscription in, because some people have, but then they got super trash stats. Or for me personally, I have like armaments that have 2 stats on them or 2 inscriptions on them, but then like a bunch of gathering speed and all that stuff. You're able to reroll the stats so that it's more usable, which is cool. I think it's a good change, but I wish, like, I feel like we won't really know the scope of how good it is, and I guess how much it'll impact the game based on how to get how to reroll said stats, because it's probably going to be like a talent reset or a skill reset, and then I'm bringing up those 2 things because it's really easy to get skill resets from the shop, but then this talent reset from the shops, but then a skill reset, like, those are like really, really rare. So we'll have to see how armaments will be reset and how frequently we'll get that currency to reset said armaments, how pay to win, free to play, friendly it'll be, all that stuff. But I think it's a good step so that like, you don't have to feel like all your armaments are trash, and you could at least have a chance to randomize it again. So we'll have to
Sure. Beast, we're going to hit you last because I know you're very passionate about armaments. Yeah. We'll hit you last. We'll hit you last because I know you're going to do this long speech about it, right? Overall, I think change to the system is good, right? What concerns me are a couple of things. One, it's re-randomizing everything. So
exactly, yeah.
There's no guarantee, and there's no guarantee in life, but re-randomizing everything. 2 is the currency. You're going to need some form of currency to do this. Does changing armaments require items? Changing armament attributes will require specific items, which can be obtained from the Lost Kingdom's Crusader achievement, the Armament Shop. Is that only available to the winning coalition? Is that available throughout the whole KVK? I haven't been in a KVK yet with an armament shop, so I don't know. Do you guys know?
No.
Yeah.
If I had to, the armament shop, I would think is where we buy the rerolls and all that. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Where you can buy, what do you call it? The extra chests from scrapping armaments. Like where you could buy Sage's Testimonies or purple epic chests or elite chests.
Right, the courier station.
And the courier station is what I would assume is there. But yeah, I'm not in the KVK with any armaments, and I don't think they put it in yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is the thing in the courier station, is that considered the armaments shop, or because they specifically reference a Lost Kingdom armaments shop?
Yeah, I'm not exactly too sure. We'll have to see for sure. It's a good point to bring up that maybe it's going to be another thing like Odd Rewards or super exclusive. So
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of taking a wait and see approach. I like the ability to get different stats on some of my garbage armaments, but at the same time, it's going to be random. There's no guarantee I'm going to get better shit.
Yeah.
Okay, Beast, all on you. Go for it.
Okay, so first of all, the whole armament system is a fucking slot machine, right? We all agree on that. Now, I think with the update, the first idea, what I have heard, okay, you can work on that, you can change the attributes on the armament. I was really looking for that. And when I'm reading yesterday the fucking patch notes, and I think I'm more getting scammed, like Shisku said in this video, you have randomize, and the solution for this randomize is more randomize. Like, come on, like how much we want to scam out of this shit. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of that is that you need a specific item to fucking reroll it. So we all know what they mean with specific items. It could be something they bring out in a fucking bundle, in only KVK rewards, in I don't know, in a way that it's not that often to get, like a talent reset or skill reset, right? They could bring it only in a recharge rewards, but you need to buy something for getting it, right? Like the skill reset. So the whole, like, bro, it's I have no words. I feel so fucking scammed. They taking more control out of this away, and like they could have made something good. Okay, that they let the randomize for the armaments, the normal randomize, okay, but that they have at least then give us some options to, you know, that we have at least a little bit of control of the armaments. But no, they're making it even more worse for the armaments and adding stuff what could be even more pay to win and more randomized, and I don't know. It's just overall like a scam. Basically just like a scam.
I mean, I'd pose this question to you, Beast. Like, you're talking about how it's a scam and all that kind of stuff. What would you do? Like, what's your solution then? In this case, like, what would you do if you're in the situation to make it quote unquote not a scam?
Make it like the equipment system, for example. You know, the equipment system is also something where you can buy stuff, where you can work on your own, and getting at the end that what you're working for. But for, like, basically just giving the control to the player, but you can still, like, making bundles then where they get money from. I don't understand the whole point of this randomize from the armament system. Because in every other stuff, equipment, commanders, everything else, you have under your control and you can decide what you want to do. But that new system is just randomized, and I could also just take the money what I would invest in the daily bundles in going to a fucking a slot machine and wasting it there and have a potential to win more money. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
you know,
Yeah.
like at least that they give us the control over it. If they want to make money with it, okay, then bring out bundles. I don't need to buy it if I have the control, right? But the spenders will still buy it because why not? You know? But that way, it's just it's also a waste of money for all the whales, for all the kraken, for the mid spender, even for the low spender. If they're going, for example, if you have a recharge event and you're going for the bundle because you think, oh, maybe I have luck and getting something good, but no, you're getting just the trash out of trash, and then on top of that, they're bringing out the system where you can where you could change the attributes on the armaments, but again, it's randomized. And what you need for re-randomize it, you need a specific item, and the specific item could be, for example, in an extra bundle, what you need to buy, or only in KVK reward. So as you can see, it's I don't know. I mean, I can understand the point that they're looking for money. It's a company at the end, right? I can understand that point, but they don't need to take away the control what we have. You know, like they can still make money.
Yeah.
You know, for example, with a geared bundle, they make thousands of dollars with a fucking geared bundle because the ways the Krakens buy it every day. So, you know, yeah, geared up, yeah.
Okay.
You know, they make thousands of dollars with that. So I don't understand the whole system behind it.
Here's what I would suggest, in my opinion, of course, to Lilith, if Lilith is listening. I doubt they are, but, you know, just in case, right? We have these silver coins, we have these gold coins that we get from recycling existing armaments. Why not use that as the currency to refine one attribute? So, you know what, 20 silver coins to refine an attribute on a commander, you know, like like this one I have on Guan, you know, refine troop load or refine cavalry attack, or if so be it, refine infantry health. But choose which attribute you get to refine.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's still 20 silver coins to re-roll or re-randomize for a new attribute, but that would give players, because everybody's got these coins available to them if they're recycling armaments, if you're doing your daily travels, if you're doing your daily dispatches, you know, you're going to end up getting armaments that are just absolute garbage that you have no stats on that you want at all, that you're going to recycle. Yeah, I've got more than most here, and I've already done 180 gold coins for an inscription shard, but you know, that's from buying the bundles. And of course, you know, that would still give Lilith money, because you're still going to have the whales who go out there who buy those bundles on a daily basis to get these silver coins or to get these gold coins. But then it also leaves room for the free-to-play players who are getting these silver coins, who are getting these gold coins, to spend them to re-roll on an attribute of their choosing. Not all three, just one. So that's my thought on how they could better do this to, in my opinion, benefit everyone.
Agreed. Yeah.
That would be a great idea. The first great idea which they would invest when or bring in on that whole system. Because at the end, what does that mean is they're giving us control. You know, because we can decide then, okay, which armaments I want to recycle and getting the coins, which one I want to take, which one I want to re-randomize on it. You know, that would the first update or the first good thing what I would support. But they only saying in the update specific item. What does that mean? What exactly does that mean? In where we can get it, etc., etc. You know, again, so many questions, and I mean, we just need to look in the past what they mean with specific items, and mostly it's just like something where people can buy something, you know. So I would be really looking forward if they mean with specific items, for example, with silver and gold coins, but I don't know. I just don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, because by using silver coins, it would be a lot like the equipment refinement system, where you would be working on maybe one specific attribute for a certain commander, you know, again and again until you get what you want, refining it, so to speak. Yeah, it's not exactly like the refinement system, as there would still be that randomness involved. I feel like Lilith is not going to remove the randomness from this simply because they want people to keep spending money, and I get that. They're not a what's it called, nonprofit organization.
Imagine. I mean, there's some form of randomness in every single Lilith system, so that's something to, like, in most games there's always some form of like crit, not crit, all that kind of stuff. But I think, in my opinion, like, Lilith just needs like, within this whole update and all that kind of stuff, the reason why people are feeling frustrated is because I mean, I made a whole video about it, but essentially it's just like there's no sense of agency or player agency, or I think what I said was it's all there's no chase, just chance, where every single system beforehand, like what Beast was saying with commanders and equipment, is like you build up towards something rather than, I think what Omniarch was saying was like it's practically like having a scratch ticket. Like, armaments are like a scratch ticket, and then if you don't like it, you just throw it in the trash if you don't crit, and then if you like it, then you get something. But yeah, it's I hope Lilith looks back at it, and then, because this is one thing that we could say too, is that all the changes within Lilith, I feel like it's not planned. You know what I mean? I feel like they put in a system and then they deal with the repercussions afterwards, instead of having like a structured like 5-year, 10-year plan. It's more so like, okay, we're gonna add this system, okay, we're gonna add that system. Everything seems really arbitrary. Hopefully, like, they look back at it, make a structure, make a plan, and then also see what the point of the game system is, and and like whatever they add is, and I guess like the value that it brings to the player base and to the game. I don't feel like this really gives any value in terms of enjoyability. Just because it's just full randomness. There's no like for example, you save up and then you feel good to spend what you saved up, for just for like a commander or gear set or something, and like you get that, you know, you get that good feeling whenever you do those things. But then when it comes to armaments, there's no equivalent to that. Like you either feel like you either feel disappointed or relieved that you got something that's usable. It's like, oh yes, finally something usable. But it isn't like a sense of accomplishment at all. It's just like, all right, Lilith loves me today, and I don't think that's a good system inherently. So
Yeah, so it's the current system with armaments and the randomization. It's more like a game of chance, and you're really, it is like a scratch off ticket, like a slot machine. You're really shooting for that euphoria, that high, that ultimate. Holy shit! I got this armament. It's got 2 inscriptions on it, or I got this legendary inscription. You're really, hoping for that, and it's kind of like refining. When Redline puts on his helmet and closes his eyes and clicks the button, is he going to come back to a fully procced piece of legendary gear or not? It's a lot like that in a way, but it's so random. It's crazy. And the more armaments I have, the more siege and garbage crap I tend to get. When I first started out, I was getting good shit every single day. Now if I open 16 chests, I might get one thing that I scratch my head and think, okay, do I really want to save this or not? It's not better than anything I have now, and all my commanders have stuff on them. So, I mean, I think, I did a couple of streams where I opened a ton of gold chests and a ton of epic chests and got maybe 5 things total out of 60, 70 chests, so the thrill of the chase is what is driving players right now, more so than the grind to build and get better.
Yeah. It's
okay.
It's all about that understanding of why you implement a system, what it gives to the player base. And I feel like they missed the mark on this, because it's fine to have chance. We've had chance in Rise of Kingdoms for sure. Like the Wheel of Fortune, you don't always get 8 spots, sometimes you do. Equipment, you don't always crit, sometimes you do. But that's not what their whole system is based on. There's a base value for everything that you do. But there's no base value for armaments, and that's the biggest problem for me. But
yeah.
No, makes perfect sense.
An easy solution, for example, could have been they letting the randomize from the armaments at the first rate, but they not making re-randomize. Like, for example, what was the point? For example, you're getting armaments and you think they're garbage. Okay, but you can recycle them and getting these coins, right? So why they're not using exactly these coins and working on the shop where you could spend them on? For example, like 100 coins for 1 blueprint piece of an armament, for example, that would give us, they could hold this randomized shit system there, but at the end, it would give us players some control back, because we can decide then with these armaments, okay, which one we reroll, which one we're gonna keep, and which one, rerolling for the coins, so we can get something from the shop, so we can work with that, where the blueprints. For example, why they're not making armament blueprint also like they have on equipment? I mean, they have all that stuff for making a good system. They have a coin, they have a shop for the armaments where you can spend the coins on. They have an equipment blueprint system. So basically, they just need to make copy paste and then having another good system. But they choosing the randomize and trying to get more and more money. At some point, I just call it now, if they don't looking carefully, they will land on their fucking mouth at some point, because with Call of Dragons coming out, it is a similar game to Rise of Kingdoms. It is a game where which have a big community already, and if Rise of Kingdoms continue that way to be updated, if Lilith not finally starting to looking for the feedback of the community, because like everyone's saying this armament system is shit, they will losing at some point more and more players, and I don't know if that is really what they want to go for. So, yeah.
Okay. No, good stuff, guys. Good discussion from chat as well. Thank you all. I think we have beat armaments to death for this week. And we're going to move on to the next topic. Plato, I think this is one you suggested. The recent recharge rewards for the Margaret heads. And it's now 7,300 gems instead of, what is it normally, 4,200, 4,500?
Oh, look at you buying all of them.
25.
It
was before 25.
It's usually 2.5k. Now it's 7.3. Yeah. I mean, this is a quick topic, but it's just like, wow, it's crazy. Wait, what is it? The new commanders, recharge rewards. Yeah, it's super weird how they did this. Like, you don't have to do recharge rewards at all, but I just thought it was an interesting change that they're changing the dynamic of certain things that were such staples. I don't know if they've ever done recharge rewards like this.
Not in my memory.
Yeah, because I remember I had a bunch of chat during that day.
I mean,
Wait,
Lubu
commented on my video. What do you guys want me to do? I'm reading his comment on my video. These guys are slandering me in chat.
when they came out with Lubu, it was bundles that you had to buy. When they came out with what's her name, Diachin, it was an event that you had to complete. You know, much like the Margaret event now to get Diachin.
Exactly.
I've never in the history of playing this game seen recharge rewards that give, at least that I can recall. Now I'm old, so my memory does lapse. Seen a recharge event that gives, what was it, like 60, 70 Margaret heads? Which,
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of heads.
Yeah, you're getting good value, but at the same time, is this really a commander I'm gonna max out on my main account? Which,
if it's universal sculptures, 100% I max that recharge. But it's just like Margaret. Like, I remember in chat we were talking about how Margaret is like, no offense to all the Margarets in the world, you know, Margaret. If you're a Margaret and you're here, it's not applicable to you. But you know the word, you know Karen, the name Karen. It's like if there's two Karens, you call the second one Margaret because you can't call both of them Karen. So. Yeah, that's kind of I don't know. It's a weird question.
thoughts there, Beast?
Thing.
Beast, did you have any thoughts on this most recent recharge reward?
I will not use them. I will not max them. Nothing. I mean, the Siege Commander, the new commanders, they're looking good. Also, when I have watched the testing live stream for Discsusion, was fine, but I don't think in a murder ball situation they're gonna do that much, actually. Like, they're hitting in March in the turret mode and getting counterattack damage, first of all, right? They're not activating any skills with that. They're not getting rage. So they're just shooting the normal attacks, basically. And in a murder ball situation where your March can get very fast swarmed down, and you have a fucking standing arrow tower there, I don't know. I need to hold on, guys. I need to deconstruct it. I don't know, 10 seconds, and then I can move the March again. So in what situation you want to use the sieges? For defending behind rivers, behind mountains, at passes, okay, yeah, that can be usable. But still, if these tower are just getting swarmed from multiple marches, it's pretty fast dead, I think so. And you cannot move it out because it's a tower. You cannot move it. And so what do you want to do with that if you're getting attacked? you cannot move it directly away like any other march to kind of save the troops if you're getting swarmed. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I will not support it. I will not getting them put. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, I do not plan to invest gold sculptures for ElectroKing out there, gold sculptures, into these commanders on my main account. That said, I did max get the bundle. I did complete the event for Margaret. I did spin the wheel to 101, 102 for Babur, however his name is pronounced. You know why? Just because, you know, just because, right? Gotta keep up with the Joneses. You know, I do plan to get Margaret and the 2 commanders on at least 3 of my farms, so that I can, during war, drop an archer tower beside a rally, or drop an archer tower beside a flag, and then I can still fight on the field with my 7 main accounts. I mean, that's my plan.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I feel like the new commander is actually gonna be pretty good. Not gonna lie, like it's gonna change I feel like it's gonna be a pretty decent like thing to invest in. But yeah, we'll have to see.
I mean, for Pharmacon, sure, it can be something that's usable. But still, like, I don't know, you attacking with a range tower, only with a normal attacks and getting counterattack damage. So, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know where, so...
Okay.
I mean, also on the farms. I don't know if I want to use them there.
This guy's having like a midlife crisis right now. What's going on? Like,
yeah, it's like,
oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I just said,
Yeah, well, just take a wait and see approach. I think it's really going to emphasize open field dominance, if anything, because towers pelting people, it's going to be so annoying. So that's
just watch 1093, see how they use arrow towers, and then do the same, right? Because they have some of the best strategy in the game.
Too bad they're out of KVK now. We'll have to check. I don't know who else is there in KVK right now. 1307, 1079, 1647. Them check that KVK.
Maybe Bulba is still in chat, and he'll max these commanders to do some testing for us in his KVK.
There you go.
Okay.
So
okay.
Go ahead.
Let's say you're fighting at the river. Okay. You have a murder ball, and you're placing behind the river these towers. Like, in which point are they gonna be annoying? Like, they just shooting normal attacks and not doing their skills. While in the murder balls, you're probably giving these marches you're hitting even more wage to get or to hit these skills more. So I don't know if you want to do that at all. Because first of all, you're missing out the skills from these siege towers, because you only get these skills activated, or the active skill activated, if you get directly attacked and not in the shooting mode anymore. And maybe in a murder ball, it's also not that annoying, because people probably gonna say thanks to these players, because they're getting even more wage for just tanking normal attack damage. You know what I try to say?
Yeah, I mean, everything everyone is saying makes sense, and Puri says in chat too that he did use his farm with the V formation. They do have their use, but once you don't on the field, they get absolutely smashed. So, I mean, yes, yeah, time will tell, right? Time will tell where these find their niche in the game. You know, playing in an A kingdom though, playing in a D kingdom are probably going to be two quite different things. We'll have to see if A kingdoms utilize these more, if lower seed kingdoms utilize these more, and exactly how they're utilized. So I know I plan to watch some KVKs to see how others are utilizing them before advising my alliance on how they should utilize them, other than don't max on your main. Well, unless you're MF, who maxes everything, and he's going to do it just because he can, right?
He just has extra bullets. Might as well, right?
Um,
Whatever.
you know, speaking of MF, I have a couple videos out there on them if y'all want to go back and watch those at a later date. All right, so new commanders, we kind of touched on those. We didn't really talk about Heracles. What do you guys think about him?
Oh yeah, that guy is gonna be a great commander in my opinion. From what I've been told, probably a YSS replacement. So Zeno, Heraclius. We got Jad, Heraclius. And some people are saying that it could even be a pair with YSS if you got that crit leadership set. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see, but it's looking really good. Really excited for hopefully another Circle AoE commander that we could chain with. And yeah, well, it'll be pretty interesting. Really, really good for city garrisons too. I feel like it'll replace the Zeno in that case. So it's gonna keep cities safer. But yeah, that's my quick take.
Beast?
Actually, I forgot to check that commander. I only checked the siege commanders. But I think having a new leadership garrison commander is probably not something bad. Some more options, and from what I have heard from Plodo now, it seems to be like a good commander, and I'm really looking forward for the KVKs where this commander, for example, getting used maybe for garrison. So yeah.
I think also to add, like it'll add what do you call it? Because like we're a copycat type of game where whatever the best thing is, like we'll see that, or like whatever the best KDs are doing, we'll see that, and then we'll try to implement it in our own KDs, or people try to implement it in their KVKs, and then what we saw from 1093 and 1960, 1365 is that like farm account usage, being able to just stuff whatever troop from your farm account you can that's T4 and above into a flag is like critical to keeping you fresh until for those long fights, those long drawn out KVKs. And what Heraclius will do is that it's practically like another commander that you can use to stuff any troop in, and I feel like that's gonna be really strong. So
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get some testing in here in 1029 after KVK is over. MF is getting first in MG because obviously it's a commander he doesn't have. I'll be taking second. I'm not going to expertise him right away. We're going to see what happens in everyone else's testing. But once MF expertises him, we'll probably do a little bit of testing on a level 1 pass because you don't take deads from a level 1 pass. And go from there. And hopefully that's a video that I'll be putting out in the next week or so. I'm sure others will have videos out sooner because I absolutely hate recording and editing. But
I think it'll be good.
But we'll go with that and we'll see what happens there. I think shit, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. It's another one that obviously I'm gonna get. I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm trying to save my gold heads for the next Archer commanders. So we'll see what happens. It's a wait and see thing there. See how others utilize them. That, quite honestly, that kind of brings us to the end of our agenda items. Now, we did have a question in chat earlier from Bulba asking us, and I think we covered this in a prior pod, but asking us how we thought the allies would change in future KVKs with the Arturk rewards and only 300 people getting those. And did we think allies would be a thing of the past? I think I joked in a prior podcast that maybe future KVKs, the strongest kingdoms will end up teaming up with each other and taking out the weaker kingdoms, not even letting them into Kingsland. And then the stronger kingdoms do a free-for-all in Kingsland to see who gets the zig at the end and gets those rewards at the end. Yeah, I mean, it's going to change diplomacy entirely, both from an ally standpoint and from a camp and alliance standpoint. I mean, in the lower seed kingdoms like mine, you've got 32 kingdoms in a Strife of the Eight, 20 kingdoms in a Heroic Anthem. That's 5 kingdoms per camp in a Heroic Anthem. And if there's only 300 items to distribute between those 5 alliances, somebody's going to get shafted. Somebody's not going to be happy, so we'll see.
For sure.
Plato?
Yeah, I think I was talking about how there's probably going to be even less people signing up for Strife just because there's 8 different camps. So that means compared to HA, which is 4, so you literally double your chances of getting Zig numerically based on going for a different KVK than Strife. So I believe that it might, because free-for-alls are like looked down upon so much in ROK because they're usually trash. But then there might be people that's like, yeah, we don't want to do Diplo, we just want to fight for hot dark rewards, and then there might be some more free-for-alls. So we'll have to see. But I think it's gonna change that dynamic of where people could feel like they could work together and split things. Now it's like there's definitely a winner in terms of who gets what. It's not just a cosmetic anymore. It actually has a value within your account and within the game. So yeah.
And Beast.
What was the question about the outage rewards? Didn't we talk about that 1 or 2 podcasts ago?
Yeah, we did. We had a question in chat though.
Okay. Yeah. So I hate that system also. Like I can only 300 people getting access to these rewards. Like, what bullshit is that? Like I said it in the other podcast. It's probably, in my opinion, it's probably gonna destroy these big Imperium kingdoms because people think or they gave everything what they have and still cannot getting access to it because all the Whales and Krakens in these Imperium kingdom that's gonna get the spot before. Like in the big Imperium kingdoms, you have like hundreds of players who contribute in every KVK. So how do you want to give them the access? Like, because you're gonna focus on giving the Whales and Krakens these, because first of all they have probably better stats what they have made, they are overall stronger, so it's the normal reaction of a leadership when they're giving them the access to these outage rewards to getting even stronger, but at the end it's just gonna destroy these big Imperium kingdoms because all the smaller players cannot get it, so they jump into D or C seed kingdom where they have the chance of getting a spot from these 300s, and that's sad, if that's gonna happen. Because I guess we all love to watch these big Imperium kingdoms. We all love to watch the fights and to see who's the number one between all the kingdoms we have. And then they bring in a system which is actually pretty important because it has something to do with the inscriptions. It's just sad to see that they also that's the way I have a feel that they're trying to destroy these big Imperium kingdoms with that system. And for me personally, I love to watch these big Imperium fights. For example, like the current one what we was having, 1365 versus 1960 and 1093, right? And if they bring that in and only 300 people have access, yeah, it's probably gonna destroy the Imperium kingdoms and also A kingdoms because they have also a bunch of players.
Yeah, I mean, don't knock D kingdoms. I'm in a D kingdom and I absolutely love it. I have made some great friends here that I will be lifelong friends with, whether I'm playing this game or not. And to me, it's more about friendships and relationships now after 1,500 days playing this game than it is about the game itself. But yeah, I mean, we've had a lot more applicants to our kingdom ever since they announced the Arctic rewards. We've taken in about 8 or 10 people so far already in this off season. Good quality people that we had existing players vouch for. So I feel confident that they're not going to break any rules or anything. But in the same respect, if we were given, say, 100 rewards to dish out to our players, I would probably have my main account and 3 or 4 farms getting the Artric rewards. And is that really fair to A kingdoms, to Imperium kingdoms, where you have 600 to 1,000 people fighting their asses off, and only 300 of those people potentially get rewards? I think it's something that Lilith needs to really reevaluate, because both 1093 and 1960 in this most recent KVK deserve rewards. But yeah, I mean, 1960, Fish is saying in chat, 300 players is a perfect maximum amount of players a kingdom should have. I mean, yeah, for kingdoms built like yours, absolutely. For kingdoms that go for quantity over quality, then things are a bit different, right? All right. I think last call. If anyone has not entered yet, and I'll put the wheel up here on the screen. If anyone has not entered yet, ElectroKing has been gracious enough to offer his services and provide a free avatar logo to a lucky winner who is currently in chat, who is watching the stream. Just check the wheel here, see if your name is up there. Right now we got New Jacka City, we got Beast, we got KZ, Plato, Mr. Weedy, Grey Worm, Cat, and K. So anyone else who wants to enter, just type ElectroKing Rocks in the chat right now. We'll get you entered. Otherwise, we're going to spin this wheel and give away an avatar.
Also, did we talk about our recharge rewards for Margaret?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Did I? Oh, okay, then I missed it. Lord.
I thought we circled back to you on that one, didn't we?
Huh?
I think we did.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
All right, another 30 seconds here. Okay. Ben Bodied, you are now entered.
Okay, any other why people writing ElectroKing rocks in the chat? Any other questions you guys have? Now is the time for you to send them into the chat, because now is the time. We have answered all the, we have talked about all the questions, all the topics we have talked about. So if you have any question, let us know. So we can talk about that after Lambo has spin the wheel.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Best of luck to everybody. Spinning the wheel in 3, 2, 1.
Chazy.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Did you spin already?
Yep. All right, so Chilsey, I'll touch base with you after this. My apologies if I missed the chat. Yep, there it is. So that's completely my fault, Chilsey. I will get you a avatar from ElectroKing since I fucked that up. So New Jacka City, touch base with
So close.
touch base with ElectroKing. You can find him on Discord. ElectroKing number 1000 on Discord. And Chilsey, touch base with me. We'll hook up. I will get you one. That's my fault. Okay, congrats, New Jacka. Anyone else? Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Seems like no one else have a question anymore.
All right. It has been an absolute pleasure, guys, as always. Always a great conversation. We will do this again in 2 weeks. I think, Plato, you're next, right?
Oh, yeah. I am.
For now, I'm putting a link to Beast's stream, or to Beast's channel in the chat. Head on over. He is in the middle of a 12-hour stream. It is a viewer's choice stream. Everybody head over there. And next time he does a poll asking what he should do next, be sure and click on go through armaments. Because we know he loves armaments, right?
No. Don't click on it. I don't want to sit here 6 hours and fucking watch which one I can use, which one not. Because I have saved these shit armaments for weeks.
All right. So now that you said that, I'm sure everyone's going to go over there and click on those armaments.
I hope for the understanding of the kind people and yeah.
All right, guys. It's been fun, and we'll catch y'all in 2 weeks. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to me already, please do so. If you haven't subscribed to Pluto already, please do so. We'll drop his link in chat here real quick too. If I can actually type and find the keys on the keyboard. And we'll catch